How I make $11,000 a day through Facebook ads, and in this video I'm literally taking you behind the scenes to the exact campaign, to the exact structure, to the exact numbers, to show you exactly how pretty much for every $1 we spend, we're getting back slightly over 5x in returns. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do, what not to do, learn through our mistakes when it comes to running profitable Facebook ads as well as scaling them. You ready? Let's begin. I'm going to go into this ad manager and I'm going to be showing you this one campaign, and this campaign was basically a sales process that we ran from April 1st to the end of July. So this 3 months, April, June, July, this 3 months in this one campaign, and we run a lot of different campaigns, we spent about $200,000 on this campaign. First, I want to share with you that this, what you're about to learn and discover, is not theory. It's current, it's extremely profitable for us. I'm going to walk you through the numbers, the different campaigns. You're going to see like how some campaigns that was profitable, we could scale it to like $1,000 a day. Some of them is like $300 a day, $900 a day. And you'll see like exactly what we did, what were some of the mistakes that we made so that you don't have to make the mistakes that we made. My goal for you here on this training is so that you can have clarity on how you can implement this. Now that we understand that this is a profitable campaign, let's talk about the setup, what's inside, how do we target, how do we retarget the numbers that you need to know. So let's begin with that. Now, on all these different columns, you will see that there's also result and cost per result. Now let's begin with this. So you will see that for each different campaign, they all have a different cost per result. Now what is a result? A result, depending on your sales process, could be a lead, it could be a phone call, it could be a webinar registration, it could be somebody giving you their name and email. So let's kind of understand this first. To understand how it's possible to create profitable Facebook ad campaigns, we first need to understand the overall big picture campaign. We need to first understand the sales process that is being adopted. Now, what would that sales process be for you? Now, my sales process could be different from yours, but understand that when you understand this and master this, you'll be able to see how you can put $1 in and get back $5, right? Ultimately, that's the goal of a sales process. To be able to go to platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, spend $1 in and get back $5 out. So in this campaign over here, we spent $200,000 and we got back over $1 million in sales. Let's talk about what this sales process might be, okay? And the numbers and the KPIs that you need to set. So for this sales process, you'll realize that the sales process that I sent people through was I ran an ad, well, not one ad, but a lot of ads with different interests, different targeting, and I'm sending people in this sales process. Now, what is a sales process? A sales process is just a series of pages that you bring people to. Now, what is this series of steps? This would be a webinar or a presentation where step number 1, they register for this training. Step number 2, they show up. Then step number 3 is they go on this live webinar. Now this could be live, this could be automated, but it's basically something, a presentation that you might give, and on that presentation you offer something. Okay, so it could be consulting, it could be training, it could be a done-for-you service, it could be high ticket, it could be a live event, virtual event, online course, whatever it might be. So for us, we had a $497 offer on the front end. Okay, so all of the sales that you're seeing is on the front end. It doesn't include the fact that this person would be a lead, and if we take care of them, they will be buying our other stuff, our upsells in future in the back end. So back to that campaign, in order to start understanding how do you optimize, how do you scale, you must first understand your different KPIs that you have to set. Now the first KPI that we set is basically what you saw earlier, the cost per result. The result is a registrant. You could be in a totally different business. You could be starting out right now. You could be selling an affiliate offer. You could be selling services. You could be selling a course, whatever it might be, you need to have a sales process, okay? So what is your sales process? Is your sales process getting somebody to register for a strategy session and then they show up on a phone call and then you close them over the phone for $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, if it's a service, it's an agency thing, $30,000, whatever it might be, right? That would be a sales process. It could be an application sales process where perhaps if you are in network marketing, if you are in real estate, if you're in insurance, what do? You run ads talking about, how to plan and structure your financial future. They register for this training. You promise them amazing value. They show up. You give them great, experience. And then at the end of it, you have a process where you say, this might not be a good fit for everyone, but what I do is I work with people one-on-one when it comes to result name, whatever it might be, whether it's cryptocurrency, real estate, yada, yada. And then after that, you close them for some high ticket, right? So I'm trying to give you different examples of sales processes that you might want to have in place, which is just a strategic set of pages. And if you want to have the software that I use to build up my pages, my sales process, just check out the YouTube description box below for the different templates and sales processes you could build. But back to this example over here, notice that I have this last column here that says cost per result, right? You can see that depending on the different campaigns, I have a different cost per result. Sometimes it's depending on the country, depending on the targeting. Some countries are higher, some countries are lower than others. So for example, you can see here the one for Malaysia, this one it's $4. Australia, it's $12. South Africa, some of it is like $3, some of it is $2. Understand that what's happening is based on the targeting, based on the interest that's inside the campaign, each campaign would have a different cost per result. So for example, in Dubai, UAE, it's $4. So this is a global, worldwide audience. Some of them could be the fact that some of them is higher, $5, $9, $11, and you'll realize that some of them are much lower. You'll see that this one, because it's retargeting. Now retargeting is basically where it's an audience that has landed on my page before, they registered for a webinar, but maybe they didn't show up. You'll see that the cost per result is much lower. So if you are new to this and you're watching this and you're thinking, wait a second, so how does Facebook know what is my cost per result? That is when, in order to understand these numbers, you need this thing called a pixel. If you don't know what a pixel is, I'm not going to spend time focused on that because I've got a lot of my other Facebook videos that talks about the foundation, pixel tracking, the conversions, the code, and all of that. I'm going to link it somewhere. Be sure to watch that video right after this one that will take you from a total beginner to an expert in about an hour. Okay, so in order to understand this entire KPI here, you only need to have these two things installed. Okay, you need to have number one, your pixel installed, and number two, you must have this thing called a conversion tracking. So what this conversion tracking does is that it's able to now tell me, based on the fact that somebody is, whether if they're in Australia, Dubai, Europe, Singapore, it tells me how much does it cost to get a conversion. Now what is a conversion? A conversion is somebody that shows up or rather registers for this webinar. You saw that from my numbers earlier. Depending on different targeting, different locations, some might be higher than others. So for example, this is UK, right? UK here is $8. You'll see that in Malaysia is like $3.83. Some people that is from Dubai, UAE, they all have a different number associated to it. So as I go through this example over here, notice that because I've got my pixel installed and because I've got my conversion code installed, I am now able to pinpoint to the T exactly how much it cost me to get a registrant. So notice, I'm not talking about a sale just yet. So what does this mean for you? Your takeaway here is to understand that when you track, you want to always track the conversion that is closest to your ad. Not to your sale, but to your ad. So perhaps if you're selling a $50 product, it could be ad to product sales straight away. But what if it was a longer sales process, like this $497 product? What if you were selling a $3,000, $5,000, $30,000 offer? Then that sales process would be longer and you're no longer tracking based on the sale because that's a little bit far away, right? You want to track based on the nearest action that's closest to the ad. What I'm doing over here is I'm allowing Facebook to optimize. and that's the keyword here, to optimize based on the conversion. Notice, like over here, I can tell Germany cost me $9.27. This one for Asia, $2, $4. Does it mean that $2 is bad or good? Does it mean that because I'm able to collect leads at $2, therefore a lead at $10 is bad? Does it mean that this one in Philippines that's only 82 cents per registrant is extremely good? No. The thing that I would like you to write down is, please write down, in comparison to what? In comparison to the sale. So notice that right now what's happening is I'm able to track my cost per result based upon all these different factors, right? So like Philippines was like 82 cents, Germany's $12, Dubai was like 8. So now because of this, and because I understand there's a sales process, which is what you need to understand as well, what happens next? I can tell that because I've got data and I understand numbers. Please write down this next thing as well. The path to scaling is all math. So based on this, I can tell based on the different interests, based on different locations, and based on all these different factors, they all have a different cost per result. So some of them's like, you saw Philippines was like 80 cents, Dubai was like $8, Germany was like 13. How do I know this number? Because I've got Pixel installed, because I understand I've got conversion tracking. What happens next is, just because they registered, it doesn't mean that they might necessarily show up, right? I know based on past experience, numbers, statistics, on average, a show up rate for my live webinars is approximately 20%, ballpark figure. So what does this mean? It means that the next number I must know in my sales process is how much does it cost me per show up, right? How much does it cost me for somebody to show up on my presentation? Now remember, this could be your sales video, this could be your showing up for a phone call, a strategy session. This could be showing up on your webinar, showing up to watch your sales video, showing up for whatever it might be for your sales process. So as you're watching this, I don't want you to start thinking, well, Peng Joon, our business is different, our industry is different, our sales process might be different. Sure, all those things might be different, but it doesn't detract from the fact that you still need to have a sales process and you need to understand what are the numbers associated to each step of the sales process. So I understand that my cost per show up now, depending on the different factors again, because my show up rate is 20%, that means my cost per show up is about 5 times more than my cost per registrant. So going back to this campaign, you'll notice that some of these campaigns here, right? Some budgets are higher than others. Some of them is really profitable. Perhaps we might want to spend more money on it. So let's take this interest targeting from Australia. So let's say this cold audience. Now, what is a cold audience? You'll notice it says here cold. It's basically people who might not be familiar with me or what it is that I do, and that's a cold audience. So let's take this Australia example. I can see that it cost me $11.94 to get somebody to register. So let's call it $12. So let's say I know that it costs $12 for somebody to register. You might be thinking, that's really high. But remember, in comparison to what? So let's say Australia, it cost me $12 to get a lead or a registration. I know that approximately 1 in 5 people show up because the show up rate is 20%. Therefore, cost per show up would be $60. Now that might seem like it's a lot of money for somebody to show up on a webinar, which by the way, it is. But here's the thing, if you have a sales process, you know that the money is never really on the front end, it's on the back end, right? Hold on to that thought for a second. So what does this mean? It means that if I wanted to have 100 people on, so I need to have a forecast or some sort of projection. And that's what you want to be doing as well. In order for you to scale campaigns profitably, you must be able to forecast and know your numbers beforehand. And that's why you start small. You don't start with like $1,000 a day. You could spend like $20 a day so that you can start getting data, right? So if I were to do a forecast based on these numbers, if I wanted 100 people to show up, how much would that cost me? $6,000. Now, because I'm selling this offer at $500, so in other words, I will need to have 12 sales, because 12 sales at 500 is 6,000. I need to have a 12% conversion at $497 to break even. Now, this might seem like it's harsh, but here's the thing. I know that the lifetime value of a lead and a customer is worth so much more to me than that. That's number one. And I also know that from my past experience, my conversion is much higher than 12%. So because of this, I know I can go in with full confidence because I know that the lifetime value of a customer that goes through this first sales process is a lot more than this. Because once they start being a part of my community, there's a chance that a small percentage that want to work with me personally, my company, my team. And because of that sales process, I know I can scale this up. And you can see, evidently, because now we are tracking on every step of the sales process, take a look at this. I can see that from here, because I'm also tracking my website purchases. I have spent $3,000 on this campaign that targets this interest in Australia. I can tell that 250 people registered. I can tell that it cost me $12 per registrant. And out of these 250 people, 23 people bought. So 23 people multiplied by 497 is 11,431. So effectively, what we did was we spent $3,000 and we made back $11,431 in sales. That would be roughly a 3 to 4x return on the front end. Again, understand that if you had a sales process that even if it allows you to just break even, that's still a win. Why is that the case? It is because ultimately you just built a list for free. And if you could build a list for free and if you could continue to nurture that relationship, add value, continue to provide, guess what? In future, when you recommend something else, which could be an affiliate offer, could be a higher ticket, it could be consulting, it could be one-on-one, whatever it might be for you. That's how you build a scalable business. Notice that what's happening over here is I can also track the website purchases. The website purchases happens, remember we talked about the sales process? The sales process happens over here. They come on the training, the webinar, and on this webinar, we make an offer where they will go to the checkout page, and on the checkout page, they take out a credit card and enter the details, right? So because of that, because I've got a pixel and my conversion tracking installed, I can now see how many sales I got as a direct result of this. How many people actually went to the thank you page, how many people paid, and because now I can see my cost per registrant and how much it costs me per sale, I know exactly which campaigns are losers that we need to cut. We know exactly what type of audiences, what type of countries, what type of targeting are effective so that we can scale and double down even further. This is literally how we scale. And before I show you this one last thing, let me know in the comments below, like what is your takeaway? I'd love to hear how you can implement this. And you've seen that in all of our previous videos, we've been giving out $100 randomly to anyone, whether you're the first to comment, whether you showed us that you applied and you implemented. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Okay, so one last thing, it's this. You'll notice that all of our numbers here, the ones that might do better than others, let me just scroll down a little bit, is usually the ones that isn't necessarily cold. Take a look at this. This campaign over here, it says warm and hot. Now, what is warm and hot? You'll see that over here, we've spent only about $1,000. Okay, these are the people from Singapore who might know who I am, bought my stuff, other products in the past, perhaps, maybe watch my videos, engage with me, like my page, commented on it, something along those lines. And you can see that by spending $1,000, we got 161 registered, which is about $6, which could seem like it's high. It seems like it might be the same as a cold audience, but take a look at this purchases here. We spent $1,000 and we got 41 sales. 41 sales at $497 is 20 grand. So we got back a 20x return. Understand, we spent $1,000 and eventually got back $20,377 in sales. Now, why would this convert better than all these other audiences? Take a look at all these other audiences. They spent about $1,000 as well, but you'll notice that nowhere near in terms of conversions, whether it was Germany, whether it was another country. Why is it different? It is because they're warm and hot. So what is a warm audience? A warm audience is somebody who might have watched your videos in the past, they know who you are, they've gotten value from you, maybe they visited a specific page, maybe they came to your webinar page, but they didn't register the last time, they missed out, maybe they commented, they shared a post of yours before, maybe they watched 50% of one of your other videos that you've ever posted. And this is why it's so crucial to be consistent on social media. Also, what are hot audiences? Hot audiences could be somebody that perhaps has given you their name and email in the past. There's somebody that maybe have bought something from you and now you are retargeting them. Now, retargeting is a totally different topic, but I wanted to show you here. And if you want me to create more videos that doubles down on this, that goes deeper in this process, whether it's retargeting, whether it's custom audiences, let me know in the comments, because a lot of my videos are really created based on comments that you guys make, because that is what gives me more ideas as well as clarity on what would actually help you guys. So let me know, like, what would you like me to talk about further? But to kind of end this, you will see that ultimately you want to work on building warm and hot audiences, because the warm and hot audiences are literally the audiences that will decrease how much it costs you to actually get a sale. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this videos and you want to be able to see more videos like this one. Smash the like button and I'll see you in our next video.